Alright, hey guys, this is Jordan with Karen Outdoor Guides. This is my brother Mike. Pretty snowy day today, so we're going to try out and test some different Microspikes. Michael's going to try a brand called Subzero. I'm going to try YakTrax, which I've never tried before, and then I've used Khatula plenty. I've had those for about 4 years now, so I know how they'd perform in this, but we're going to do a little review. So we're going to hike around, get to the top up at Gregory Canyon here, and then we're going to kind of fill you in on what we think. Michael, what are your thoughts on today?
It's a little cold. I don't know how slippery it's going to be, but we'll see.
Now, fresh snow and stuff like that, you never kind of know. There can be ice under the snow, or it can be perfect conditions. I mean, otherwise, we get to play around in the snow, so it can't be too terrible of a day. All right, we're here at the top of a mountain I will not disclose because it's one of my favorites, but I tried the YakTrax, and Michael, you tried the
Subzeros.
What are your thoughts on those?
Subzeros are pretty good. I'd probably give them like a 8 out of 10. They did slip off a couple times, and I don't know if that's just the way they are, if it's due to user error.
Yeah.
But it happened twice. Once when I was climbing up like a pretty steep part of the trail, and another I was just kind of walking and felt it pop off. But yeah, overall pretty good. Really good traction. They really lock into the snow and ice, and
Going uphill or downhill?
Uphill and downhill, and especially I climbed down a rock, and even on that it really locked in and gave me some really good traction.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah, mine kind of slid up on my shoe one time. I got the YakTrax, but they're super light. Overall, had really good traction with them. I did notice that if you're going kind of against the wire, you're prone to slide. The biggest differences that I noticed between the YakTrax and the Khatulas was that the YakTrax feel a lot lighter, and they track really well. That may be due to a heavier rubber, the chains that the Khatula ones have. But with the Khatula ones, I found they have bigger spikes, and against rocks and stuff like that, it can kind of scrape and crunch and do different stuff like that. But I've never slipped, fell, or anything like that with the Khatulas, whereas these I found myself slipping occasionally, but not too bad. Anything else you got to say about the Subzeros?
No, for what they are, the spikes aren't really too aggressive, so like I said, on rocks they perform really well, and even in snow and ice they do really well, so
nice.
I'd recommend them.
Nice, guys. The main thing to take away from this that we're hoping is you kind of get a better idea if you are considering hiking out in the snow, ice, things like that. Microspikes are a really good thing to have. An important thing to point out, unlike snowshoes, they're not going to keep you above snow. However, they will give you traction in ice and snow, but they're not going to keep you above snow because they don't have that kind of tennis racket surface area. So something to keep in mind. So over here in the Front Range, we don't get as much deep snow as they do up in the high country, so snowshoes aren't as necessary. However, there are days when it does dump snow, and snowshoes would be a nice thing to have, but Microspikes are primarily for traction, okay? Something that you can easily slip on, slip off, especially when it's kind of that transition between winter and spring. We'll still have some snow out here where Microspikes are absolutely necessary, but then it'll be dry in some areas. So being able to take them off easily, put them back on, is a nice feature of Microspikes, and they help you enjoy the wonderful winter wonderland that's been provided to us today. So if you have any questions, comments, anything like that about the things that we have today, feel free to message us, comment, what have you.
One last thing I will say is from past experiences, Microspikes really make a big difference between having a good time in the outdoors and having a really bad time and slipping and getting hurt, so I would definitely recommend getting some.
If you don't bring Microspikes, you're gonna have a bad time. Alright, we're back coming down from the mountain. We tested out the ice cleats, Microspikes, whatever you want to call them. Mine held up pretty good, but I didn't totally trust going down. Just again, those are the YakTrax that I were using. Going down, I didn't feel like I felt completely comfortable putting all my weight on them, but they did perform pretty well. Still stayed on pretty secure and everything, kept light. Michael, how did yours perform?
They're pretty good. I didn't slip. They did pop off one more time, but other than that, pretty good.
Yeah, and again, Microspikes are something that it varies in price range. The ones that Michael were using, you can probably find at Walmart, Amazon for anywhere from 10 to 15 bucks. The YakTrax go for about $20 retail, and then the more advanced, I guess, if you want to call them that, because they do kind of look like like ice cleats you would use to go like ice climbing. For those go for about $70, but I've had those for 4 years now and haven't really noticed difference between the day I bought them and where they're at now. So what you decide to pay for is kind of what you get. But overall, like, there wasn't really a huge negative other than popping off or anything like that. So again, Microspikes are a really good thing to have in the winter. Help you in ice, snow.